one of the reasons I bought the N900 was because it has this little kickstand. And I love the idea of being able to set it on the table and see it and everything. But as you can see, the angle of this kickstand leaves something to be desired. It causes a lot of glare with overhead lights. And then when you go to use the phone, it's unstable, especially when the screen is up or the keyboard is exposed. If you go to type, you can easily knock your phone over. And so I decided to solve this problem by making a stand of my own using my laser cutter. So this is one of two varieties of the stand. This is a black painted Baltic birch plywood stand. And as you can see, the phone just drops right in. And the glare from those lights, as you can see, is much reduced. And it also is able to give you access to the keyboard. So you can flip up the screen, and it does change the angle a little bit. But you can type away, for example, www.mymo.org, and you can see that works really well. To put your phone back, it's as simple as this. But I think the coolest thing about this stand is actually that it holds your stylus like a little samurai sword or katana. It's always there right in front of you, so you don't need to dig it out from under the phone. You can throw your screen up, poke around on the web, whatever you want, and you just drop this guy right back here. So first of all, it's very easy to put together. It's just sort of slotted together. So when it comes to you in the mail, it will come as three separate pieces. There's a right side, a left side, which you can see is notched for the camera, and a back brace. So to put it together is as simple as pushing this and then pushing this, and you're done. And the crunching noise you just heard was me breaking this stand. So that's really all there is to it. If you really want to be careful about it, you can push a little bit here and get the extra little bit. So now the other version of this stand is a clear acrylic stand. And it's actually it's exactly the same as the black painted wooden stand, except it's a little bit heavier and it doesn't have a non-slip coating on the bottom. And in a minute I'll show you what that means, but otherwise it's identical. You put your phone in there, keyboard works the same, everything is the same, and it also has the same snap together construction. That's about it for the acrylic one. So as far as the non-slip coating goes, I have here an uncoated black stand and the acrylic stand. And the one problem that some people brought up when I was designing this was like, well, if you're tapping on the screen, does it move around? And on the acrylic stand, now this is a smooth plastic surface, it does move around. If you, for example, have it on a surface which is not shiny smooth plastic, like a book, as you can see, it moves around a lot less. The same is true of the wooden stand. It moves around a little less when you poke at it, but it definitely moves around. So what I did was I found a substance that basically creates a thin coat of rubber on here, and I'll just compare that with the acrylic one. So if I set this in the acrylic one and sort of push around, you can see it slides quite easily. And if I set this in the one with the coating, you see it barely moves at all. And especially actually with the screen up, this backward pressure, it would rather just rock in place than it would go anywhere. So you can see it's very stable when the keyboard is out or the screen is up. And this is probably my favorite thing about this coating. It works best on surfaces like this plasticky surface or a glass surface, which is cool because that's where you'll need it the most, right? But as you can see, this phone is just as stable as can be. I can look at mymo.org and talk with everybody about the stands and so on and so forth. So it's really great this way. And typing's not bad. The only downside about the design of the stand as it is that these little holders can sometimes get a little bit in the way of when you're typing. It hasn't caused me any real problems yet, but it's something to keep in mind that it's not perfect for typing, but it's really good. And it's a lot better than trying to type like this, in my opinion. So the last question that people asked was about how sturdy these stands are, how strong they are. And actually they're very strong, especially for their size. So the first thing I want to do is just take some stands that I don't care about. This was an all wooden stand that I had has a mistake in it. You can see the edges are not very clean, so it is a good candidate for destroying. So with this stand, I'm going to demonstrate the easiest way to break one of these, which is to pull it apart like a wishbone. And that took some considerable force. I'll do it again on this side, just so you can see. So they're not just going to break easily on you. Likewise with these pieces, if you want to break them, it does take some work. So the next test would be a sort of smash test. I'll just drop a book on it, an enormous fat book, and you can see how well it holds up. It fell on the floor, but here it is perfectly intact. And now I'm just going to take this book and really slam it on there with some force. And you can see it held up just fine. The acrylic stand is pretty much the same way. The one danger with an acrylic stand is that when it's cold, it's brittle. This stand is just room temperature, it's fine. But if it were out in the snow or something, I don't really know, or sitting next to a very cold window, sometimes they can become a little bit more brittle, so you wouldn't want to shock them. Also, when you snap this one together, you want it to be warmed up. So if it was out freezing in your mailbox, let it sit by the heater for a little bit just to prevent it from cracking. So again, I mean, if I just take this enormous book and smash it, well, the acrylic one broke. So I guess the answer is that the wood one is a little bit stronger because acrylic has a tendency to crack. Anyway, that's about it. Thank you.